The OPEIU has grown year in, year out over the last 20 years, while other unions have contracted, while other unions have merged out of existence.
Organizing is the key. If you don't organize, you're going to wither and die on the vine. That's the truth of the matter.
It's very, very important to get people together to fight for what is right.
Workers are falling further and further behind. The only solution to that is to organize and to grow and make sure that we are able to extract out of the employers proper compensation so we maintain the middle class. The middle class has been slipping. The only way you change that is with the union.
To help protect the middle class, OPEIU is using new and innovative ways to grow, moving into non-traditional areas with 21st century organizing methods. In cities including Tucson, Houston, and San Diego, we work with taxi drivers. They need strong union representation to ensure safe and secure working conditions and fair competition with on-demand services like Uber. In Tucson, the National Labor Relations Board handed down a historic ruling for taxi drivers.
We had a favorable ruling from the National Labor Relations Board that classified them as employees, which meant that they were subject to the jurisdiction of the National Labor Relations Act and therefore could benefit from collective bargaining.
Depending on the city, they can be either employees of a company or, more commonly, they're an independent contractor status employee, which makes it very difficult because they are independent, obviously, and their expenses are very high, their benefits are non-existent.
It's very hard in the taxi industry to organize. You know, the companies normally are in a situation where they have more money than the union has, and they can really, you know, hire some anti-union, you know, busting lawyers and so forth to fight the unions from getting into their companies.
OPEIU has been working hard to organize other workers around the country, including interns in Washington, D.C., social welfare and housing authorities in Seattle, and hospital workers in San Diego.
And Local 30 was able to work its well-developed relationships in Southern California and their intense desire to grow. They were able to bring in 2 large bargaining units in the last year. And as a result of that work and their leader there, Walter Allen and Mary Ann Giordano, they were able to grow by 700 new members this year, which is a big deal.
Healthcare workers, it's a big part of our organization. I think we're up to about 15% of the total membership, or maybe even more. Hospital workers from one end of the spectrum to the other. In fact, in some cases, even physicians. We represent many people in healthcare, which is a huge field and getting bigger by the day.
One of the many diverse professions that OPEIU is proud to represent in locals across North America, helicopter pilots.
We now are the spokesperson for helicopter pilots throughout the world, and that is just unbelievable.
Very high risk flying a helicopter, being paid $35,000 for a job that you take your life in your hand every time you get in the cockpit.
Their wages were $35,000 a year for flying a $7 million piece of equipment. We have them as high as $160,000 a year now through collective bargaining.
OPEIU wants to ensure that every worker, in every profession we represent, is paid what she or he is worth. But in today's gig economy, some companies are misclassifying employees as independent contractors to keep down their costs while reaping enormous profits.
I think that's really putting the onus on workers to provide their own tools of employment. And that's something that labor unions have fought against for years.
The gig economy will be a challenge to the labor movement, but it's going to be a challenge to everyone. Being able to work on demand does not necessarily mean that you're going to make an income that's going to be able to sustain yourself.
The workforce of the future is changing. And where we're looking at traditional jobs today, those jobs may not be here tomorrow. So what we're doing is educating ourselves on the job change and what the future holds.
I think this challenge is going to stay here. I think it's going to be here for some time to come, but I think we're going to have to deal with it on a case-by-case basis as the work continues to evolve.
These are problems we've faced for 50 years, and we will continue to face them.
Every person should be organized. Every person should be a union member because we fought to have this. The only way you're going to get great benefits in any independent group or whatever is to have a binding contract with management and a union.
OPEIU has always been, and always will be, a union that's evolved with the changing nature of work. With your help, we'll bring more and more members into our ranks and ensure that every worker receives the compensation, benefits, and protections they deserve, no matter what the future of work brings.